Hi besties! So this is going to be a very casual video, hence I'm filming on my iPhone using this microphone because, I just really wanted this to be a very casual chit chat between us and kind of answering a lot of the wedding related Q&A that you guys asked me on Instagram or just questions that I get all the time on my social media. So I gathered around like 10 to 15 big questions that I got on my stories and narrowing that down into talking about some of the specific details wedding related. So it's going to be a fun one. I hope I can answer most of the questions here without giving too much away. So today is actually May 1st on the day I'm filming this. My wedding is on June 13th on the Sunday. So we're officially just a month away, which I'm ecstatic about, but at the same time super anxious because I still have so many details that I haven't figured out yet. But shout out to Shin, my wedding planner, who is literally a lifesaver, helping to plan out a bunch of different things. All right, so with that, let's begin with our very first question. So how did Ben and I meet? We actually met on a dating app called The League. I know it's pretty obnoxious. It's so elitist, but I swear, like, I didn't go on there with the intention of that. This was, in fact, my very first dating app date ever. So clearly I'm one and done. Actually, I was so opposed to meeting someone on dating apps. I was very, more like I want to meet someone very naturally. But I was in between like a 2-month break between jobs where I couldn't start for visa reasons. So I was bored out of my mind. I decided one day to go on, this date with a guy who seemed decent, like, went to an Ivy League, had a decent job. It looked pretty cute. So everything on paper kind of met to my standards in a way. I did not think our first date went that well, but he thinks it was so stellar, which I have no idea how he thinks that way. But you know what? A couple years later, here we are, and we are getting married. Second question, how did I decide on the venue? All right, so I do not want to reveal the name of the venue, security reasons or just privacy reasons. I don't want to reveal the name of the venue until after the day of the wedding. So all I can reveal is that we are getting married somewhere in New Jersey. His family lives there. He kind of grew up most of his life there as well. I knew I wanted to get married kind of near where we lived, but the bigger priority for me was being able to have a big venue where I can invite everyone I wanted to. So pre-COVID, my numbers were looking more around 200 people, and there really wasn't the space in New York City or Brooklyn where I could host at least 200 people. Even if I did decide to pay a lot, which at the same time, like, budget was a concern as well. Some of the venues that could have afforded over 200 people would have cost an arm and a leg, and I didn't want to spend that much. So my mother-in-law was actually the person who suggested this venue. And when I saw the pictures online, I was like, that looks so tacky, like definitely not my vibe. But I just decided to go visit the venue. And when I did, I was blown away. It was so Cinderella princess-like, definitely up my alley. It wasn't like bohemian, like too like Brooklyn, I want to say. Like, that's not really my vibe. I kind of lean more towards like the classy, elegant vibe. So I definitely saw myself at that venue. And then after deciding on that venue, I think that gave me a little bit more clarity on like the type of dress that I wanted to go for as well. So I think the dress that I picked out actually fits in perfectly with this venue. I cannot wait to show you guys my wedding dress. And actually yesterday I finally bought my wedding shoes. It's so funny because I bought my wedding dress 2 years ago, but I kind of procrastinated on buying the shoes until yesterday. But the shoes, once again, like completely a Cinderella like, fits the venue very, very well. Third, how has COVID affected your wedding? Our wedding was supposed to be in July last year, but because of COVID, we had to cancel it. And, if it was up to me, COVID just kind of ruined the idea of getting married, right? Being a bride in 2020 was literally the worst year to be a bride possible because you can't really do the classic enjoyments of bachelor party, bridal shower, just like family get-togethers, all of that good stuff, right? So I wanted to save the money and not have a wedding at all. But my venue didn't allow me to do that. They wouldn't give me back any of the deposit that I paid, which was actually a very big chunk of money. So I was kind of like forced to do it. And I was actually very not excited about having this wedding because I felt like everything was forced and they were just like taking money away from me. But now that we're getting close and I have a little bit more excitement around the wedding with my wedding planner and just like, people getting excited about my wedding as well, that's given me a lot of hope around it. So now I'm actually really excited and almost to the point where like I'm really glad I didn't cancel everything altogether and at least having a celebration of some sort. But at the same time, like this is the biggest and hardest thing is that my parents live in China right now, and with COVID, traveling restrictions and all of that, and with my dad's job, it's kind of very risky and hard for them to come here. So I don't know, I'm gonna tear up thinking about this. My parents aren't able to come to my wedding, so that's why I'm not really calling it a wedding in my mind. At least I'm just calling it a huge summer brunch garden party. But I'm still wearing my wedding dress. That's a theme we're going for. And then maybe next year when COVID restrictions are more lifted, we're going to do like a dinner in Korea and I'll be dressed in like traditional Korean clothes and all of that. So this year is just a big celebration with some close friends and family who are in the US this year. Fourth, what was the hardest decision you had to make? Okay, so the hardest decision, let's see. I think dress, venue, like I think those are like the biggest decisions you have to make. Surprisingly, both the dress and the venue was so easy for me, especially the dress. I've tried on like over 50 dresses, and I think the dress that I tried on was like more in the earlier stages of me trying on the dress. And when I tried it on, I kind of like immediately knew that this was my dress. And the thing is, like, when you keep trying on other dresses and you still think about that earlier dress, I think that's when you kind of know, like, okay, that is my dress. So that decision was pretty darn easy. Same thing as the venue. Once I saw the venue and like envisioned myself there, it was very easy and everything kind of fell together perfectly. Fifth, wedding budget. So where did you splurge versus save money on? All right, so I think this is an advice that I want to give to all brides, future brides. Make sure you have like a certain budget. It doesn't always have to be, like the tight budget. It can go over or under, at least 10K. But I think like I had no idea how much wedding costs. So I kept asking friends or like vendors, like how much do brides typically spend for the number of people, the venue, the location, the services, all of that. And then once I set like a certain budget for myself, that kind of gave me a little bit more clarity. So if I'm spending this much on the venue, I wanted to make sure I didn't spend more than like this much on other things, which, as long as your venue, you have to spend on like your food, your florist, the music, the makeup artist, like the hairstylist. Just like there are like 50 different factors that go on after you choose your venue, right? So whether if you want to go all out on flowers and spend like 20K on flowers, then I think that's when you have to kind of pull back on the venue or the cost of your dress, that kind of stuff. So for me, like I did spend a little bit more money on the venue, but I did, in my mind, save on the cost of the venue because I was doing it in Jersey versus like New York, where it could have been almost double the price. So then I was thinking like, okay, I'm definitely going to save on flowers until I realized like, wow, flowers are so freaking expensive. So that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I actually want the theme to be very garden party, summer rays. So once I decided that I'm spending a lot more on flowers than I expected, then you're like, okay, you know what? I actually don't need a big wedding cake. Like it's not that necessary, right? So like kind of like making your judgment based on the initial budget that you had, make some necessary changes, but really setting your priorities. Like where do I really want to make sure I put the money in to make sure myself and my guests are having a good time and it's not like a waste of money in that way. Music is another way you can save money. You don't have to have a live band. We're having a live string quartet versus like a band, but that's an easy way where you can save money. You can have your friend to DJ instead of hiring another DJ and music, all of that stuff. So really comes down to your priorities. All right. I forget what question we're on, but maybe sixth one. So this is like 4 questions all in one, but the biggest question I've been getting is, how are you preparing for your wedding in terms of your skincare, your fitness workouts, as well as diet? So I'm going to start with skincare. I think coming out from COVID and the winter, everything, my skin has been really, really sensitive. So for the next month and a half, I'm purely only going to be using very, very, very gentle things for my skin. I'm not going to exfoliate as much. I'm like maxing out on sunscreen to make sure I don't grow any more dark spots than I want to, and just like really focusing on the cooling, calming ingredients. And as for facials, I typically don't go get facials in New York City as much because of my hypersensitive skin, but I have been doing a lot more research into where I can go. So I've been testing 2 places. I'm going to another one next week, and then maybe decide on which facial that I want to go to like a week or 2 right before my weddings. I guess that's like the fun part of the process as well, but also really stressful because you really want to make sure your skin is like in the best, most optimal condition of that day. Fitness. Okay, so I bought my dress 2 years ago, a long time ago now, right? So that was when I was, a lot slimmer than I am right now. And then COVID happened. I went to Korea, and I still call this like my Korea fat because I was eating like 5 meals a day, and I gained weight to the point where when I came back from Korea, I could no longer fit into my wedding dress at all. Like I couldn't zip it up. So I thought I could easily lose the weight, but I think with aging and slowing metabolism, it really has proven not to be as easy as I thought it would be. So that's why last month I decided to hire a personal trainer to help me just get back into shape and just meet my fitness goals. And I asked me like 2 years ago if I would ever have hired a personal trainer. Never, but I think it's been one of the best decisions I've made, not just like, learning how to like use weights, workouts, but kind of more in the sense of accountability on, and also, the consistency of working out. It's not like I'm home and I don't feel like working out in the morning, I'll just skip it. It's like a mutual agreement. I have to go meet him. He's waiting for me. So I have to go and push myself out there. And after you've worked out that hard for an hour, you don't want to like go out and like eat like pancakes and ice cream. So that's more of like that accountability factor that has gone in. It's been a little bit over a month since I started training with him, and I've definitely seen a difference in just like, not just like my looks, but like how I feel about myself, all of that stuff. So I'm definitely going to be continuing doing this, and hopefully after the wedding as well. And lastly, in terms of food, this is a tricky one because I love food. But what I have been doing is I've been trying to cut out a little bit more sugar because sugar also causes more inflammation in my skin. I actually took a food sensitivity test. So this was like a big game changer for me. But with the food sensitivity test, I'll do another separate video getting deep into this, but it's caused a lot of changes in my diet. So I'm only on like day 3 right now. It's proven to be a little bit of a struggle, but I'll definitely update you guys on this. But basically, with this new food sensitivity test, I can't have gluten. So maybe that'll make me not eat as many pastries, and maybe that will help me slim down some of the weight. Who knows? Or maybe it'll turn out the other way and I'll, eat more junk in other ways. I don't know, but that's something that I want to work out, but it is giving me a lot more clarity as to what I can eat and actually feel better and not feel nauseous all the time. All right, so I think the last question is also like, 5 to 7 different questions all wrapped into one, just general wedding day details, guest count, like food, all of that stuff. The wedding day is going to be on a Sunday. It's more like a brunch wedding that ends around 6 p.m. Guest count is around 120 people now versus the original 200 plus that I had planned. Color scheme, I'm not really sure. My wedding planner is like kind of taking care of it. So I think there's going to be lots of pink, garden party theme, peonies, roses, white flowers. I think all of those colors. I do have bridesmaids, but we don't have groomsmen. I'm just going to still have my bridesmaids wear their dresses, but he won't have anything. And because this is not a traditional wedding, because my parents aren't there, we're going to skip all the, classic vows, walking down the aisle, father-daughter dance, just anything like super wedding related. We're skipping all of that, and it's just going to be replaced by more food and dancing and a lot more fun. Food's going to be amazing. the only thing I really had say in was the food and the cake options. So food's gonna be great because I decided to put in Peking duck and a dim sum and a tequila shooter bar, a lamb and steak station, just everything. So I picked out every single item on the menu. And also for my wedding cake, I did 2 layers. So one's going to be a carrot cake, which is pretty unconventional, but I really wanted to do that. And then another layer of vanilla raspberries. So it's kind of more like that fruity tarty kind of cake. So excited. Not gluten-free, but I'm still going to eat it on my wedding day. Whatever. Yeah, so I think that kind of covers everything. I feel like I can go on forever talking about this, but this is just like a video for those of you who are interested in some of the wedding details for me. And you guys, I'm so excited to share everything about my wedding and to really show you guys the before the scenes, the day of and after, all that. So, thank you so much for being here with me because it's such an important time, an exciting time in my life. So yeah, that is it. Please follow me and subscribe to my channel here below for more wedding related fun content. And I will see you guys in my next video. I love you guys.